it's just tough to think about exactly how these two are going to line up. I mean, herO, 217 Stargate coming in, not missing a single beat despite the early probe scout. Asking for a pause very briefly. And it seems like herO is just going to play this with a little bit of greed, immediately throwing down the third Nexus. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him follow up after perhaps the second Oracle, a Twilight Council and a Forge, and go into Blink play, because here on Ghost River, as you were pointing out, that third base can be a little bit difficult to defend. And hold on for a second, because this is one of the weaknesses of going for that Void Ray first, because you don't have too much defense back at home. These Adepts getting surrounded, and the third base is going to force the Adept from the wall and to come back in. And this is a pretty favorable trade here for Serral. Picking up two of these early Adepts. Usually in a matchup like this one, especially if you're a player like herO, you would love to continuously warp in Adepts to a count of about 6. Then send them across the map, try to pair them up with the Oracle, as Pig was mentioning before, to find damage as you transition to something like Blink, like +1 ground weapons, as you continue to scale on your side of the map. So Serral kind of taking a little bit of that momentum away, actually pulling a drone with this.
Yeah, the accidental drone gets control group, wants to be one of the boys. I want to fight, I want to get revenge. They killed my drone friends and I want to get them back. But no, does get sent home to go back and mine. That's going to be the best way you can contribute to the war effort, mate. Oracles are going to come forwards towards the natural right now. Let's see how good Serral's defense is. 2 queens and a spore, well placed. Serral really on point with his defense, and herO not trying to force the issue just yet. He tries to skirt through the main, but good focus fire. You can see the queen focus firing the low hit point Oracle, and that's Basis Trap. All it's going to do is deny a tiny bit of mining. He's so smooth with that defense. This is the Serral difference. The early game ZVP of Serral is disgustingly good. You just can't find openings. Says, no, I've got an advantage. I can swarm you with Roach Hydra. If I just get a ton of Roach Hydra out, that same style we just saw Dark do against Trigger, it's really difficult to stop if the Zerg has a good early game.
Yeah, especially against somebody that's playing pure Stalker the way that herO is back at home. He is building a cannon, but primarily this is just going to be pure gateways. Stalkers with +1 ground weapons and a lot of blink, as herO is hoping to get some damage done. But once these Hydras come out and they add the DPS on the back line of the Zerg army and they pair with the Roaches and the Ravagers and the Queen on defense, I don't think herO is really going to have any room to start getting damage done unless he gets some insane trades.
I mean, yeah, it's more about surviving, right, than getting damage once the movement comes across the map in maybe a minute's time. Serral will move out. It's going to be like, okay, I'm building a gateway at the front. herO does this every game. Roddy was talking about that earlier. You know, you can expect the forward gate blink pressure, but, I mean, you're going to get swarmed, and having your production on the other side of the map can get a little bit dangerous. On the other hand, Stasis Traps, Blink Stalkers, both being microed pretty well so far. The Zerglings not finding any actual damage. Technically, you can defend anything with Blink Stalkers, right? It doesn't scale that well, but if you're blinking back, you're using battery overcharge, if you get enough Stalkers, you can defend anything.
In theory, yeah, but it's hard to pull off against a player of Serral's caliber, especially with this kind of unit composition that he's running, Roaches and Hydras. But at least to this point, herO has been taking very favorable trades, but now Serral's hand is getting revealed. The Roaches and the Hydras still not yet in critical mass. In these small numbers, herO still can slowly creep forward, find some damage, blink back, just shave off a couple of Roaches, a couple of Hydras, get some damage done. Because really, without the Roach buffer that Serral has, these Hydras, they would go down fairly quickly to these Stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good micro, but I don't think herO should be committing in, should he? I don't think he can actually overwhelm Serral, but it looks like herO is stuck in an aggressive mindset when he needs to be flexible and he needs to be defensive right now. I think picking off units is good, but he's going to commit! That is a crazy attack from herO, trying to bust through Serral's defenses. Quite a few Hydras go down pretty quickly. Bile does land on the Stalkers. The Stalker micro blinking back, but there's plenty of Roach Hydra left over. Only 2 drones falling, and all of the Oracles and Zealots just get flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, that was an ambitious blink forward there by herO as he continues to warp in Stalkers on the back line, but the Hydra count's basically dissipated here for Serral. It's only 3 standing in the front line, and this is where the Stalkers can start to get even more value. Watch us see herO try and shave away as many Roaches, as many Lings as possible, and while that wasn't ambitious, Blink Pig, did a very good job of isolating those Hydras on the left side with the Oracles, getting damage done, but the question is Serral's Remax a little bit too much here as more Roaches and more Hydras are streaming in? Now, on the other side of the map, herO, he's starting +2 ground weapons. He's building a 4th base, which Serral now is scouting. There is a fallback plan, but he is stuck in this unit composition where he constantly needs to fight, because if Serral just builds Roaches and Hydras with no chip damage and moves across the map, herO is dead. He needs to bring this fight, and he knows it. 2 more robos in production.
Roach is much cheaper units, much more cost efficient if you're trading even numbers. Zealot's getting surrounded by the Zerglings. 4th Nexus did get cancelled before. It's now being rebuilt, but he should be able to get that up with just a few more warpins on that side of the map.
And now the Hydralisk count is getting to a point where Blink Stalker Micro becomes nigh impossible with the amount of damage being dished out. Even without this front line of Roaches, I mean, there's only a handful of them on the map right now with more in production. These Hydras, they might seem like glass cannons, but they are not, as the surround comes in from Serral, attacking both on the bottom left and the bottom right side. herO going to blink up to the north, trying to escape the situation, but you can see the firepower of this Zerg army levying so much damage onto herO. You need to retreat from this position, herO.
Oh gosh, oh gosh. I don't think he can squeeze them all up that high ground with the blink. He doesn't have vision.
He barely has vision on the right side. Blinks 3 Stalkers just to get enough to retreat, but the damage has already been done. Look at the army supplies, Pig. 54 to 108.
Yeah, I think herO, he could have transitioned off this build, but the moment he committed with the Zealots and the Oracles, he gave up so many units. And remember, Serral is doing a giant attack. He was always planning to do a big attack. herO got overly aggressive into it, and he's kind of handed beautiful engagements. I mean, the force field is nice. This is Clutch holding on. He is evening it out a little bit, but just there is an endless swarm reinforcing across the map.
And look at the focus fire by Serral. Takes down every individual sentry, knowing that really the only way he loses these engagements is his force field sections off his armies. Even battery overcharge is not enough to save that Immortal as it falls almost immediately, but Serral, not having the concave that he had hoped for, is going to retreat from this position and set his eyes on the 4th base.
Battery overcharge is going to wear out there, which means he's now going to go for this 4th base that's a little more exposed. The battery and the cannon will fall. Stalkers come in from behind, but that means they've got Lings and Hydras rallying on top of them. An intelligent pullback on the right side for Serral as he chases these Stalkers down.
Yeah, those Stalkers are in a world of hurt. He'd be lucky to have even a couple of them survive here as Serral is on the hunt. Those 5 Stalkers cornered here by the Hydras and the Roaches. He's going to trade him out, try and shave off as many Roaches and Hydras as he possibly can. I mean, he does get his money's worth. At least 3 or 4 units do go down, but the problem is the army Serral is amassing. More Ravagers, more Lings streaming in. Hydras and Roaches coming together. This 4th base, I think it is not long for this world, Pig.
And not overcomplicating it at all. Serral stopped at 65 workers. He made Hydras, he made Roaches, Ravagers, and Zerglings. He defended, and then he went and attacked. He knew that herO was putting himself in a corner, and Serral adapted to the opponent and countered it. What he is known for doing over the years, and he does it once again so fantastically. herO just cannot keep up with the endless reinforcement of Zerg across the map.
Just the early aggression from herO was not enough, and GG is called, and Serral... All right, well, herO building up back at home, going for a 2nd Oracle. These 2 Adepts paired with the 1st Oracle, going to try and find some damage. Serral's early game defense was effectively impenetrable in game number 1. We'll see if herO can do better, but, you know, I think actually herO is showing a lot of respect with this move out because basically every PVZ in GSL, if you watch him in some of the crowdfunding tournaments such as the KSL, these weekly events that happen or bi-weekly events, he's always going something like 5 or 6 Adepts, 1 or 2 Oracles, trying to get something done. But the fact that he is investing so little and trying to get the damage, just 2 Adepts, the 1st Oracle, 2nd Oracle also coming in quite late. Okay, here's the other ones, but generally speaking, herO a little bit more aggressive with these early game units than he is here against Serral. I think partly knowing that it's harder to get something done against this guy compared to everybody else. There's a reason on the cards his defense is like, what, 99?
And he's seeing it as well. This isn't blind reacting. He's seeing the Queens and Lings, and he's going to shade out here, I believe. Oh, he's going deeper. Actually, Oracle's going to dive back around to the 3rd base, potentially. Adepts going in towards the main. The Lings are tracking it. Nice cancel into recall. If he can preserve all of these Adepts, what's he spent? A bit of shields. He's wasted mining time, and it's good to not overreact. The problem is, Serral's still up 10 workers. Serral has still done an incredibly smooth early game and is finding leads for himself based off of this.
And the really funny thing is you see how much herO is trying to finesse any damage he could possibly do.
Wow, even more
a recall with Shades coming to the natural into the main, unable to get anything done, and Serral just barely missed the wall, and he's going to have to cancel that to allow these Lings to flood in. But the Adepts actually working their way into a corner is going to allow those Lings to have to move into another position, and now herO actually in not the worst spot. This is a lot of potential damage that can come in the main base, Pig. They're talking about that drone count. Look at it, already 4 going down.
They don't have glaives, but they still do good damage against these drones and Zerglings. And look at that, 9 drones going down, forced the Evo chamber cancels to happen as the Warlock didn't get up and finds himself a decent trade out after what had looked like an early game that didn't really find the damage. So far now, the worker count is dead even. Blink and +1 are both almost finished, whereas +1 range and roach speeds just started for Serral. Serral's also getting a little bit close to supply blocked right now as he adds more workers. herO's going straight for a 4th base. We're going to see Gateway Man up against Roaches to start in Game 2. It's going to be a big kind of mass expanding, mass economy, but lots of low-tier units will be clashing for map control.
Yeah, I think herO's having one of the best early games that he could possibly hope for against a player of Serral's caliber coming in here, adding in 3 additional gateways. More Stalkers want to be reinforcing as he tries to really control the creep spread, and he's been doing a great job of it. Now, actually, Serral coming in for what looks like a bit of an engagement, maybe not anticipating quite this many Stalkers, but he's able to defuse with just 3 Lings.
It felt like
trap, so?
Yeah, the stasis trap was a little bit so-so. Oracles, though. 5 Oracles do take down 4 Queens, but at what cost? He's going to kill 4 Queens for 3 Oracles, and that's like, it seems like an okay trade if it allows you to then get more damage done, but it doesn't in this case, right? Because you're not really able to clear creep that much here. There's 11 Hydras about to come out. herO takes a very early 5th base. Wow. Grades. And we've got a triple robo transition for herO. He doesn't want to stay Gateway Man for long.
Triple robo transition here against Hive Tech Lurkers, and it's going to be Serral Hive Tech Lurkers. Concerns me a little bit because, you know, in theory, on the ground, Zerg wins out with Lurkers against a pure ground-based army unless they're absolutely able to pull them out of position somehow as the Protoss player. And I'm not sure herO's actually going to be able to make that happen in this situation. And the fact that you're committing the resources to 3 robos means herO's only path to victory here, it's basically going to be on the ground unless this game goes super late.
I think, you know, Immortal Storm does really well, but when you're this far behind the curve, like you said, like there's going to be like 15 Lurkers and you're going to be getting your first like 5 Immortals out. There's no Storm, there's no Disruptors. A few Disruptors I think would be so good when you're this far behind against Lurkers because you just need something to hold them back.
And the Zealot's getting caught by the Lurkers. They're going for the 5th base. They will be cleaned up. And man, Serral, if he's able to siege down the triangle third here of herO.
Oh God.
With these Lurkers, this could be devastating. Wait, is this where the robos are? There's one right there by the 3rd. Could be a lot of damage. Another Zealot run by going into the 4th base here of Serral is getting tons of damage done.
Wow, okay, the army's rotating south for Serral right now. He's going to look for that 5th base. Some of the Lurkers do get caught out, but look at how quickly the Stalkers die when the Lurkers start landing their shots. I actually feel like Serral probably could have pushed on the robos on the 3rd. It would have been a risky move. So, of course, not Serral's main way to play risky. He's still going to take out the 5th base in the south, putting herO back to 4 base. herO does cancel a base up north with Zealots. Immortal Stalker running in. I don't think there's enough numbers here for herO, though. The Immortals are going to get taken out. Zealots trying to warp in on the left side, but the Immortals are already gone.
Immortals are gone. Most of the Lurkers were being able to get cleaned up right there. And look at the worker counts, 71 to 84. So losing the 5th base here for herO. He still does have the fallback plan of the 4th, but I'm concerned about the army that Serral has back at home because, while it may look like herO is stabilized here on the front lines, Serral has 114 army supply, only 70 drones and nearly maxed, and that's where it is, right there on screen. 5 Zealots, 4 Immortals, 3 Archons. I don't think you stop these Lurkers.
That is just so many Lurkers, and you need like, got 8 Immortals and some Psystorm and a good flank to deal with this. These are things that herO does not have right now. Serral's preparation in the early game, the details allowing him to navigate all of that chaos, all of that harassment that herO normally gets ahead of. It just puts him at best in an even position against Serral. That is the power of Serral. Now with Mass Lurker sieging this base, 1 Lurker goes down, but those Immortals are already almost gone.
Yeah, the SimCity even working against herO a little bit as he was trying to get an arc on those Lurkers, and with these 4 Archons coming on the top right side, he might just try and find the angle to attack in. Serral retreating.
Serral's so good at pulling out when he thinks he's about to get flanked. He's so good about those unburrows on the Lurkers. Roach Hydra there pushing in a little bit. Ling starting to come in on the Archon flank and get taken out. The Lurkers moving forward in sections. It's like a giant tank push. Very hard to deal with for Protoss. herO's just going to go across the map to counterattack. He says, you know what, I can't fight that front on. Let's go across the map. A sure sign of desperation for the Protoss.
I'm not sure this is going to be the winning play. It's just so many Lurkers, even with these more Immortals reinforcing here on the 3rd base. I don't know if he can actually hold on back at home. And look, there's even Lurkers at home. Here for Serral, they will get cleaned up as there's 5 Immortals and a ton of Archons taking down this 3rd base. But really, herO very soon will be reset down to basically no economy, to basically no production. He's losing robos, he's losing gateways here on the front line. And I'm not sure this is going to be enough here for herO. He is getting a lot of damage done on Serral's side of the map, but is there a world where this is going to be enough, Pig?
We just need a mothership to flight in from the edge of the map, from a different map, recall 10 carriers, and then I think Serral's in trouble. But right now, Serral just has a massive army. This is only part of his army, and yet he's engaging anyway. Serral's so confident right now. Maybe a little overconfident. He gets a few Immortals and Archons. He does lose a lot of units, but the Immortal count severely diminished. He unburrs the Lurkers and pulls those back. herO is going to recall right now. Serral still has a mining base up north and is natural up and alive. This is so many Lurkers. What the heck?
Yeah, there is not a chance for Protoss to take this down. GG is called, and Serral still has got it.